Happy Saturday, all. Dan the Chartman here, coming to you on 9/2, September 2nd. It is the fall season. Hopefully, liquidity is picking up here in the fall soon. My name is Dan the Chartman. I am coming out of the Midwest here, out of the state of Texas, and I am coming to you on Saturday here to say hello. If you don't know what my channel is all about, it is about educating those just getting into trading to have a more level-headed mindset when it comes to looking at the charts. So for me, I've been in Bitcoin for 2 years, and it has been a long road to get to my comfortability with looking at the charts every day. I came in at this point in time. Let's go ahead and look at a cleaner chart that I have that I don't have so much information on. Let's do the KuCoin chart. And everybody, I hope everybody's having a great week, and I hope everybody finishes strong to the year. There's no better time than now to go after what it is that you're trying to go after. Take your licks and try your absolute hardest to keep moving forward to getting to where you want to be in whatever realm it is. But if you're starting with investing in cryptocurrency, if you're starting to look at charts, Bitcoin charts, I would love to be your guy to ask questions to. If I can help in any way, please let me know. Please let me know in the comment section, and I will try to personally answer your comments. Okay, so as I was saying, I got in right here. After this huge run up, I got in right here. YouTubers were saying 100K, 200K, 500K. I didn't know any better. And I put a good amount of money in here. I was all in, and I was all in for the right reasons in my head. Trying to help my family, trying to find a way to create wealth. And we had a huge sell-off. And I was scared here. My friends were scared. I was scared. I was all pumped for the potential of Bitcoin with the dying dollar, this and that. And we had a huge declination in price. We had about 50K. So I was scared here. And when we were here, I was turned off from getting back in. And look what happened. We had a massive upwave, 136% plus some. And then I was excited again. Hey, we're going to 100K, and boom, another down wave. Come up, boom, another down wave. Right here, we had some nice settling. We had some divergence in momentum. We had a nice exit of money flow. Prime environment for us to have a nice uptrend, and look what happened. We had an uptrend. And right here, it was right when we kind of came up here, I kind of realized I needed to do a little bit more to be more comfortable with the charts. I think I needed to see it in a better way, to give myself peace of mind as to what I'm looking at every day. So that's where I started doing these types of boxes. And I really do recommend these types of trading boxes. It really allows you to take price and have it be more digestible as to where you're currently at in price and to where you are relative to other trading zones, supports and resistances. So we'll start there with this video. How to kind of see price where it's at relative to other supports and resistances. Creating trading boxes. So right here, this is the weekly time frame, and I'll show you exactly how I'm making these boxes. And if anybody has a better way to do it, let me know. I'm trying to learn every day. So we come down here to a peak sell-off, and I mark that peak sell-off. Then we have a retracement from that sell-off, and then we peak from that retracement. I then create a box. Right here, it gives me a little bit of perspective as to where we are in price. So when we're right here on these candles, we can kind of say, hey, we are here in relation to this box. It allows me to be more comfortable to say, hey, if we come below the box, will we find support and pump back into the box? And down here, that's exactly what we do. We come to the top of the box here and we reject off of it. It acts as resistance. We come to the middle of the box, we hit support. We ask ourselves, hey, will we find support here and maybe potentially come to the top of the box? That's exactly what we do. And then we come up to resistance, this value area low, where I've marked in my trading box here, and we fall. And then we come right back down to that range. This is really effective in the large time frames. If you are just trying to maybe potentially have longer term holds of your spot buys or your leveraged buys, you have an opportunity to kind of sit back, live your life, work, your day job, enter in advantageous opportunities like at the bottom of this range or coming to the top of the range, and it gives you some clarity. So we've been kind of settling as of recent at the top of this trading box. Question is, are we going to hold this trading box, or will we come down to some support within the trading box? How are we going to find support within the trading box? Well, we can take this little tool, the fixed range volume profile, and we can say, man, okay, well, we have a value area high, which for those that you don't know, when there's discoloration or when there's uncolored volume here and it comes to it then being colored, this top right there, that's a value area high. Mark it with a horizontal line. Title it value area high. Now I just like to say where it started from. June 22. Boom. Okay. Right here, this is the point of control. It's where that red line is. These act as supports. June 22 point of control. Value area low. Coloration to non-coloration of volume right here. Boom. June 22 value area low. All right. Now we have an idea on a larger time frame. The larger the time frame, the more relevant or the more probable. Okay, so let's just take price and we're going to look not in the big scheme of things, if it going down to this support or down to zero. It's, hey, let's take it level by level. So we tell ourselves, like we just said, hey, we know that we are sitting on top of our range top. If we come down within the range, we could get supported by this value area high. We could get supported by this point of control, this value area low. We could get supported by the bottom of the range. So in the next few months, it's very likely that we can come down. If we do come down, we can get supported in these areas. So that's where we'll be looking at for bigger term pictures of where price is at. So right here, I've viewed this as support. Look, we rejected here, we supported here, so we are at support. Now the question is, will we stay weak and fall down to a lower level? Or will we use this as support, find some sort of consolidation, and find a way to potentially make a higher high? Up here, we would have some resistance at we'll call it the January 21 point of control. Boom. So, all right, now we kind of say, hey, price is here. What's above us? What's below us? Okay. So starting with the weekly picture with a clean chart like this KuCoin chart. My other chart on Coinbase is a little bit more messy. It's a little bit more going on. So having a chart that's a little messy and a little clean, it gives you some nice balance. So I like to start with a weekly time frame, and I like to ask ourselves, where are we in relation to relative or to local supports and resistances. And now we can be more comfortable and say, hey, we're here. We got support below us. We got resistance above us. That's the start. All right. And now you can ask yourself, what do we got going on locally to potentially ask ourselves, hey, are we finding some support and are we potentially bottoming out? We're looking at price on the 10-hour now. Okay. A little bit smaller of a time frame. I've just circled that because it was support to me. But we ask ourselves, hey, what is happening locally? And we can say, hey, so we know that we had a value area low, right? We know we had a value area low. Look, we know we hit a value area low right here. Boom. So remember, this is the January 21 value area low. So we hit that value area low, and boom, look at that, right on the dot, basically. Fell back to our range top. Came up. We almost held above that prior high in the value area low, but we ended up showing some signs of weakness. On my free market cipher here, VMC cipher B divergences. Look, as we're coming up, we are actually forming a lower low in momentum. And then as we're still coming up right here, we're coming down and further downward, okay? And then we end up falling. So now we ask ourselves, okay, where price is at, what's going on more locally, are we showing enough support to potentially bottom out here? So I will go back to that indicator in a second, but we need to ask ourselves what's going on here. So recently, we kind of started our downtrend from this peak right here that indicates the start of the swing failure. And we can say, hey, from that peak, it's been about 51 days of declination. There's oftentimes symmetry with these moves, and we had about 61 days. So 51 versus 61. If we were to match that, we might have a little bit more time here. But there's really no saying if we will match exactly the time of declination before that next pump. But we can kind of use that to give us a framework. Hey, this kind of took 61 days. Potentially this could take somewhere close to that. So we're kind of thinking, okay, well, that took 61 days to fall. This is at 51 days. Maybe we need a little bit more time. But if you just look at price structure, hey, let's analyze price structure. We've made lower lows, lower highs. And right now, in recent trend, we came up and we showed some volatility back to the downside. So personally, we're seeing some local volatility. And my thinking is, hey, maybe we need to cool off a little bit, settle down, something like that. Right? You see kind of how like we're more volatile here, kind of calm down, more volatile. We kind of calm down with the size of these bars and then we come up. So maybe that's what I'm looking for. Maybe we're looking for us to calm down a little bit. So maybe we can come kind of down here, show some smaller bars, and then maybe we end up coming up. That's my thinking to the upside. Maybe we just need to calm down a little bit, find some support, maybe find some local divergent action with momentum and money flow, which I like to pair together to potentially have some sort of relief. Now, will that come back up to our big area of resistance here or even our value area low? Well, that's certainly where we'll be looking for. Right, I've marked this as an area on the weekly chart where we've seen some pump, price respecting. So that's my box. And our box is going to start from the value area high or value area low of January 2021 down to that purple line. So now I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable, right? So now we're like, all right, well, price is right here, top of the zone. Below us, we have support. Now above us, we have resistance. So now I'm a little bit more comfortable as to where price is at. And we can ask ourselves, all right, well, maybe we need to settle. If we ask ourselves the first question, what do we need to do in order to long? For me, I'm looking for us to settle down, some smaller candles, and potentially that will allow us to settle down, find some local divergent action. We want to see this tighten up a little bit, and potentially we can, make an uptrend here, a local uptrend, and in the grand scheme of things, potentially we can think, hey, macro lower high. Okay. Now we are technically bullish because we have higher highs here, but in recent trend we have lower lows and lower highs. So I'm starting to think a little bearishly, right? I'm starting to think, hey, could we maybe make a macro lower high here to short up in this area of resistance somewhere up here? That's what I'm thinking. So locally, I'm saying, hey, maybe we should settle to make a next uptrend, and we're just taking level to level. We're right here at support. Let's try to find the right divergent action. Let's try to see us calm down here to buy support. And then let's see us come up here, show some reasons for weakness, and sell resistance. We're buying support, we're selling resistance. If you buy low and you sell high, you will have a higher chance of having higher probability trades, better risk to rewards ratios, and you're just living by that very simple philosophy of buying support, selling resistance. And we're trying not to be greedy. We're trying to take what we can get. So that's what I'm looking for. This is a daily chart. So I showed you the weekly chart, and now we went down to the daily chart, and we're kind of seeing if we can get some sort of local selling exhaustion here to where we can get a up move. And in the grand scheme of things, we're looking for a lower high. And we can say, hey, if we get this lower high, this might act as a swing short in which we sell here, and then we wait for an extended period of time. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for if I'm looking for a longer term short picture. Now, if I'm looking for a longer term long picture, I could say, hey, we find some settling here. And instead of viewing price for a local, for a high time frame, lower high, we could say, hey, this might be a good idea for a swing long. Show some smaller candles, some tightening, and we are potentially looking for a higher high in which we could potentially come up to 30, maybe 38.7, somewhere up here. But really the main point is, hey, start with a weekly time frame, look at where you're at, look what's below you, look what's above you. Get that sort of picture, starting with the big time frame, and then get a little bit smaller. So now we're at the daily, okay? So now we're at the daily. We know what's below us. We know where we're at support. We know what's below us. We know what's above us. Now let's look into the smaller time frames. Let's look at the 8 hour. So like I said, we had some local volatility. For me, I would like to see us make potentially right here, we make a lower low. And you see how we have, as we're coming back to this range top at 25K-ish, we have smaller bars, we make a lower low, and right here, we are bottomed out on momentum. I look at this as support. We're below the zero line. We have some money flow having a big exit. We're flat here. Usually when we're flat, it doesn't bode well to have a substantial long. So we're kind of flat here, and then we have another exit. And then when we make this final down move, we have a nice kind of a juicy exit here. And in general terms, we have a exit, a smaller exit, a smaller exit, and an overall higher high in money flow with some nice bottomed out momentum. And I'm viewing this as support. We're below the zero line. We have had a couple, 3 mountains here acting as support, and we have divergence of money flow as price is getting lower. To me, that is a clear trend that says, hey, we have some selling exhaustion. Potentially we'll have an up move to resistance. And exactly what happened, we came up to the value area high, we couldn't hold the higher high, and we fell. So if you just took this, that's 20 some odd percent. You don't need the moon. You don't need to look for 40%. You can just say, hey, we have a clear trend on the 8 hour of money flow making higher highs as price comes down. And then you can just get in, set your stop loss below the lowest low, and then you can just chill out. You can do this on spot buy, right? So if you put, $500 in, you're making a 20% move. And what is that? A couple $100 on. The main point is, if you guys are living a busy life, try to look at these bigger time frames and try to see those type of trends, and then get in confidently. Okay, right here, look what is going on here on the 8 hour. We have had some massive exit. It's starting to get exciting when we have massive exit, but we don't have really a trend of higher highs like we did here. So for me, I would like to see that trend. So now we're on the 8 hour. I would like to see us have some sort of trend like this where we have higher highs and momentum. Potentially we can have lower lows, higher highs in money flow. Potentially we can come down a little further in momentum and see some sort of uptrend in momentum, or even just simply having some size here, some bulk of momentum waves acting as support. Right now, for me, this doesn't look very supportive. It looks like we're kind of holding on for dear life. Momentum comes up, we're kind of holding, and that doesn't look very supportive. I like to see it get a little lower. So for me, that's why we need to be patient, and we need to know what we have below us. So if we lose the top of this range, we come down to something like 23. If we can have that uptrend in money flow, and then have some sort of nice below the zero support like this, for me, that bodes well for a nice big move. And if we have so much exit here, money flow, this might be a big move. Look what happened here. We had some nice exit of money flow, and we have some nice bottoming of momentum. Big momentum waves, big exit of money flow, higher highs of momentum. That's support to me. And look at this. Boom. Nice move. So that's what we're looking for, guys. We are looking to see some support down here. And we need to see these candles getting a little smaller, like this, right? We're too volatile right here. So for me, now we're going to go a little bit smaller. What do we want to see? Let's go ahead and get rid of these brushes. For me, on the 4 hour, we had some nice exit. A little flat here, a little flat here. Now we are starting to see some sort of low 4 hour, but we are on the weekend. There's not a lot of trading going on the weekend. So for me, potentially we need to come down further, maybe show some direction on momentum, maybe have another exit of money flow. And that to me might look a little bit better. So that's kind of my thoughts looking down from the weekly down to the daily, down to the 8 hour, down to the 4 hour. And so if we were to set up what we want to look for, if we do think that we need to come down, if we need to slow down here after having some volatility, we can ask ourselves, where can we set up some trades? We view 25 as a support. We want to see a pump off the support. We want to see what we can set up. So for me, like I said, we've had some vocal volatility. I kind of want to see us settle down. We kind of ask ourselves, so where are we here? So like we had the bottom of the range here at 25. We had some wicks. We came below this wick, and this actually could act as a trade here. When we come below the wick and then come back above it, we can trade that. But let's make this a little cleaner for the eyes. And we can kind of see if we want to see some settling. Potentially we want to see price come down. We can come to support. Maybe here at the spider line, which is a diagonal support and resistance line. If you guys want help with creating those, you can. Ask me in the comments. But right here, I've labeled this as some nice support where we pumped off of this box. But if we want to find a local area to get in, we can ask ourselves, hey, maybe we need to come down to support. Where are we getting some local support? So we could simply say, hey, this potentially is some support if we come down. We could also, lose this range and then get bought back up. So I will start from the bottom and we'll say, hey, maybe we can just get bought up from coming below a wick like this. Maybe we can do that down here. We're going to call this a CDW. Refer to Jason Casper's channel if you want to know what that means. It's just basically, like I said, you come below a wick, you close above it, acts as a trade. Obviously, the bottom of the zone is right here. So down here can be an area to long. Coming below this wick can be an area to long. If we look more locally, we can maybe pull we can either pull a fib to come to this wick, or we can come to this wick. I might choose that one. And we'll just start with looking at a golden pocket. So if we take this impulse low to high, potentially we can come down here. We do have that spider line. So maybe I'll just make a box that says, we'll just say spider line to golden pocket. Label it spider to golden pocket, Control A. And we'll create a nice little notification. So now we have a trade below us, where we're at now. We're viewing this as a potential support. Now this is the box we're looking for. Below that, we could come below the wick, get bought back up. That could be a trade, or we can come below this zone, and that could be a trade. Above us, we have the bottom of this local trading range, where the low is here, and then the automatic reaction, or after we have a selling climax, we come up here. That's the top of the range. We came above it, and we fell below it. And now we're kind of asking ourselves, okay, whoopsie. What if we come back and touch the bottom of this zone, or lose it and come back up? If we lose it and come back up, we could find support here. Boom, and then come back up. and back over this local range. So let's say potentially here could be a trade. But let's kind of look at some local support. Maybe we could come down here. Oopsie. Maybe we can take a Fibonacci from this low again, impulse from this low to this high. Maybe we can say a little box for us would be from this golden pocket down to the bottom of the range. Or we could maybe find support here, where we find, maybe we'll pick this low to this high. And we'll say, hey, we've got a golden pocket here and we have a point of control. So we'll label this golden pocket to, basically we'll call it August 31 selling climax or range bottom. So I'll just call it a August, what did I say, the 21st? 31st. August 31st selling climax or range bottom to a golden pocket. And I will control A. Now we have our box labeled, and then we can also take a notification if price gets into this box. Boom. Okay, so if price comes into the box, we'll have the notification and we'll know that we're at a golden pocket and the range bottom. Above us, we can say, hey, from the swing low to the swing high. We can say we are, if we're down here, we can say, hey, we got a golden pocket and a point of control, and this point of control starts September 1. So we'll call this September 1 point of control / golden pocket, control A, control C. We're just going to create a nice little notification. And what I like to do is have multiple reasons to get in. You see how I have a couple reasons to get in on this trade, point of control golden pocket. Down here is going to be a range bottom golden pocket. Right here will be a spider line support in a golden pocket. I have multiple reasons, not just one reason, not just a fib. What else is going on with the fib? What else is here near this Fibonacci? Well, there's support. We fall right here. We have this point of control where price is respecting. So now we've started with a weekly view. We went down to the daily. We went down to the 8-hour. Well, we went to the weekly view, right? We saw we were at that 25K support line. And then we said, hey, maybe we need some smaller candles on the weekly time frame. We come down to the daily. Maybe we kind of confirm, hey, yeah, we might need to settle down a little bit. And then we come to the 8-hour. We come down, so on and so forth, to where we can now have these local trades. So the big picture starting with to get your general idea of where you're at, and then coming down to the smaller picture. So now we have on the smaller picture some local trades we can get into, right? We started with, hey, we could lose this range and get bought back up. We can come below this wick and get bought back up. We can come down to the spider line in the golden pocket and buy here. We can come to this golden pocket and range bottom, buy here. We can come to this golden pocket and point of control, buy here. And now below us, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable that I can look away from the charts, and if I get a notification, I will abide by these boxes because I know that I have predetermined that these are areas that I want to get in on. I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to stare at the charts like I used to do in the past, like everyone probably has done in the past. I'm not going to stare at the charts and say, hey, this looks good. This looks, like a good time to buy. No, I've predetermined with a clear head as to where I want to get in. I've located these boxes. I've determined these boxes. I've labeled the boxes. I've created notifications. And all we can do is now wait. And now this allows us to spend less time on the charts and gives us an opportunity to live our lives. And if we have that notification, we come in here and then we look for some local reasons to actually act on these support areas. Okay. So now I feel pretty comfortable that I have reasons to get in these 3 boxes. I would have a reason to get in if we come below this wick and get bought back up. I would have a reason to get in if we come below this box and get bought back up. And then I know, if those all fail, then we have these spider lines at 22.6, and we would look for areas down there, right? So looking from the bottom up, we're comfortable as to where price can go in the coming weeks. So now we're feeling good as to our long buys. Now we can say, hey, okay, what's above us? And let's start with the 4-hour. I told you we had some local volatility. We could say to ourselves, let's look at the 8-hour. Let's again work big to small. So now this is going to look a little, clustered because we were just looking at this in the micro time frame, but that's okay. Let's look above us. Okay, so this was a range bottom from March 19th, and then we made a range top. So we can ask ourselves, hey, if price comes up, maybe we can come up to our range bottom at 26.7. Maybe we can come to a point of control in this range right here. We did, and we fell. So we could either come up and come to the bottom of this range right here at 26.7, or we can come back up to this point of control, or we can come higher to this range top at 28.9. We could potentially come up to this point of control, which I've marked in that line here from June 24th, or I think I labeled it as June 26th, but regardless, that point of control there. We have a little local trading box that we created up here where we peaked, our buying peaked, and then we had that automatic reaction. We labeled this box, right? We labeled those 2 lines, which created the start of our trading box. And we kind of come up and we fall. But if we're looking at these areas as resistance, right, we could say, hey, if we could come back to this point of control, we come to the top of the box, we come to this point of control, we could come to the bottom of this box here, this value area low, this point of control, this value area high, we could come to the top of this trading box here, and then we can set our trades. So I'm happy that I looked at the 8-hour because now we can kind of now get a little bit more micro. But so now we're thinking to ourselves, okay, so if price comes up, we'll start from high to low. So we'll say, hey, if price wants to make a macro lower high, we could come up here to the top of the box or this value area high. We come to this point of control, this value area low. We come back to this range bottom. We come to this range top. We come to this point of control, so on and so forth. So we created this box, which is from this high to this low. And we have a golden pocket, and we have a point of control. The box is there, it's labeled, and then the notification is there. Okay? Below us, we have this golden pocket in that point of control that I spoke on prior. And then more locally, we could say to ourselves, okay, do we have any more local targets? Well, let's go to the 2-hour, and we'll say, hey, I know, guys, there's a lot of lines here, but it makes sense to me. But if we come up, where could we come to? And then we're saying to ourselves, well, we did come to that point of control. Yes, we could come to that point of control again, or we could come above this wick and fail. So I have the notification. Or we could look for maybe this area. Got a point of control. I think I started to create that box, but didn't finish the job. So let's take from this wick all the way to we're going to take this wick. We'll take this wick all the way down to this impulse low. And that creates our golden pocket right there with a point of control. So I definitely recommend playing with your fibs to try to make trades work out. So this is a golden pocket / point of control. Control starts August 29th. So start with August 29th. Control and golden pocket. Boom. So we have that labeled. This is more than just the golden pocket. This is the August 9 point of control / golden pocket. Then we have a notification. And then below us, we have golden pocket starting from here to that low. And that leads us to this notification. And we have the golden pocket kind of within this area here. This is a value area low from March. So from back here, it's a value area low. Let's actually just change that. So this is a value area low from March. And we'll just say, hey, we got this golden pocket down to this value area low. So this is a March 20 value area low up to this golden pocket. March 20 value area low. Okay, so now we have a notification. We marked the value area low. We're going to just clean this up a little bit. So now if we come up here, we got a notification, value area low, up to the golden pocket. And then if we go a little further, we can say to ourselves that we have a spider line, and then we have these kind of wicks right here. We got a notification saying, hey, if we come up, this has been resistance, 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 support, resistance, resistance. I got a notification. I got my line. And the reason why I've kept this is actually it's a prior Fibonacci. I'm just kind of seeing if we can maybe back test this. So yeah, we got basically the spider line here. We got the golden pocket, and we got a notification. Below us, we have this wick. We come up and we fail, and then we got our local trading box. So do you guys see how I kind of started from bigger time frame, worked down to smaller time frame, and then we've labeled our trades, and we have our support lines, we have our resistance lines, we got our boxes. And for me, I know this looks a lot, but it helps me creating boxes, starting from big time frame, working downward, involving some Fibonacci's, and it's simple. Buy low, sell high, and then you're just figuring out what time frames you want to work with. So we're feeling good as to our long positions that we can get into. We've clearly labeled our boxes from top to down, and we know that we kind of hit this local point of control. We could come up here. We could come above this line or this wick and get, sell back down. We could come up here to this golden pocket, fire line. We can come up here to the value area low and golden pocket. We can come back up to this golden pocket, point of control. We can come above this wick. We can come to this golden pocket that was resistance here. We can come above here and fail, so on and so forth. So I hope that gave some clarity as to, I know this looks a little confusing if you guys are just looking at this for the first time, but That's why I like to have the clean charts to look at, because it can get a little bit confusing when you're just looking at all those lines all the time. That's why we like to give ourselves some peace of mind by starting with a clean chart, seeing where we're at. We're at support from this trading box. We have bigger time frame supports below us, bigger time frame resistances above us, and then we can look more micro, which is exactly what we did on that Coinbase chart. So we started weekly with a weekly chart. We gave us some peace of mind. We started to look, big time frame first, and then we created some local areas where we can short and some local areas where we can long. We got areas below us, we got areas above us, and that's it. So moral of the story is use your trading boxes wisely, like I did here, to give us an opportunity to understand where we are versus what's below us support-wise. Find some big areas of resistance above you, and then start with the big time frame to say, hey, on the larger time frame, we have big areas of support below us, big areas of resistance above us, and then work more micro. So that's it, folks. Those are my trading plans for the short term. We have ourselves positioned to get some nice, shorts all up here with those different areas that I've labeled. We have some positions for longs right here, which we've labeled, and then we're good. So that's it, guys. Saturday, I don't really like to trade because there's not a lot of volatility going on, or there's not a lot of liquidity, there's not a lot of people trading. There's not a lot of big money trading here on the weekend. So, Saturday is my day off, but that's kind of what I want to lay out is just start with the big time frame and work your way down. If you guys learned anything, for anyone that took the time to watch this, I really appreciate it. If you guys learned something, please tell me what you learned. I'm really just trying to help beginner traders have an idea of what they're looking at as to where price currently is and as to the supports below them and the resistances above them. How you guys can also use trading boxes. And I hope that helped. If you simply start with the weekly, create some trading boxes, add some big areas of support below you and resistances above you, you will have a lot more comfortable time of understanding where price currently is versus supports and resistances. So that's it, folks. If this helps you, please let me know. If you guys need any questions with anything, please let me know. If you found value in this, please give me a like and a subscription. Be my first subscriber today. That'd be wonderful. Dan the Chart Man out. Everybody have a great weekend. Watch some college football. And that's it.